Right then folks, you join us at Lychgate Fisheries. Just finished a live match. We've been on peg 9 on the carp stretch. Been a fantastic day catching loads of fish. Hard pellet fishing on the pole. If you want to find out how we've got on, please continue watching. So we're just about set up. We were running a little bit late just because I was waffling and gardening my peg, but no rush today. As I say, nice relaxed match. Just set up to ping some pellets to the island. Unfortunately on this peg it's really overgrown, so I can't get tight across. I'm fishing about 3.5–4 foot of water. The rest of the pegs you can get like into 18 inches of mud, which is ideal. So yeah, not greatest on that front, but yeah, nice and simple. Pinging sixes across the island where the bush is, and then I've spent my time just gardening my edge nice, and hopefully I can catch there a bit later on just with some pick and mix. And that's about as complex as it's going to get today. If I really have to, I've soaked up some micros to like chuck to the mud over there, but I've only chucked a little 9-foot rodding, so you don't normally need a method rod, and they can take us around the corner and stuff. So hopefully it'll just be a case of pinging on this line and then dropping in the edge a bit later on. Nice and simple. So even though we've got a real simple approach, hopefully it will demonstrate just how I approach a match. We're fishing for big carp, not messing about with little gearly rigs, just fishing a couple of spots. I don't want to split my fish up. I want to target them around the island and in the edge, and hopefully that will come to fruition come the end of the match. So we've managed to snare one on the old pinging line. It's been a slowish start. Normally you get a bite straight away, but we've been fishing for what, 20 minutes now, and we've just managed to connect with one. But we've had a lot of rain again. The water's right up. I've never seen it so full, and it's quite bright today, so I don't think conditions are going to be great to catch a big weight, but I'm just trapping him in between my legs and pinging a few pellets on the spot ready for the next cast. Just keep him nice and low. Fishing nice light gear today. Large orange slick in a power kit too, and 020 to 020 to a size 12. So no messing about. I don't want them going around the island and stuff like that. So they're all big fish in here. If I finish waffling, I might be able to net him. No rush with him though. There we go. We're off the mark. Leaning down onto the spreader block. In a lap, onto the roller behind, under my armpit, and we get a nice linear mirror. That goes mental in the net. Give him a click. And just repeating. So just putting an 8mm, nice long 8mm on our band. If my hands aren't too wet, let's try that again. Stretching it over my finger and thumb. They have got a bit of oil on, so they are a bit slippy. There we go. Ping a few pellets again, and then out we go. That one's foul hooked. Yeah. So we've managed to snare one, but it's definitely not in the mouth. Just the nature of the peg, as I say, that we've got to fish in that bit deeper water away from the island, so there's fish going to be coming off the bottom. It's not normally prolific for catching them shallow, so I'm just going to pouch a few more 6mm. So I was putting, say, 10 in, I'm going to put like 20 in to try and keep him on the bottom. So I've just got him trapped in between my legs again. I'm just going to do that if he's under control. He was. Just going to do that again, no rush, just in the area, and then keeping my pole nice and low. And if I lift him up, there's a big fish. I ain't gonna strip a load out. So when it's not bagging the early part of the match, if you can get a foul hooker out, it is a bonus. Just gentle pressure. Just plodding round. Big common carp. I'm also doing this, I can have a little nosy up the lake to see if they're catching. The fly that's been winning everything peg 7, old Shep dog, is that Shep? Yeah, Shep's still fishing the feed. They've got a mud bank to fish across there, and real shallow water, and they've been catching lots of fish off that peg. So I'll just let him plod along. Not going mental. Is it the SpongeBob sketch where it's like 3 hours later and he's still doing the same thing? I'd say, in all fairness, it's only our 3rd bite, isn't it? So yeah, it's worth trying to get him in. Ben's thinking, pull him, pull him, pull him. Just in the wing. Because he ain't overly fighting like a foul look, is he? He's just in the wing.
Yeah, not a tail pounder.
No. No, he'd be over there, wouldn't he? Jumped out the lake.
Kind of control him when they're in the wing, around the head. You could pull here, but you'd probably pull the hook out.
Yeah, 100%. Trying to get me round the net, not pretty. Head first, in the wing, and up we go. Oh. Nice and comfy. So yeah, it has took a couple of minutes, and yes, it wasn't very pretty, but when you do foul hook one, if it's not bagging, it's worth taking your time. There we go. His head wouldn't come out, it was all head and no legs, a bit like me. So new fresh 8mm on the band, nice dry hands so I can get it straight on, a longish one. Pinging a few pellets again just before we go out. Well, I say a few, like a pouch full, just try and get them on the bottom. Click him again, go one more for luck, and then it's just a case of putting my pole back together. So I do like to break down, if he's a mental foul looker, I've just got a few sections behind me instead of like going straight back from my full pole and he charges off and I can't put any sections on or turn him or anything. So, getting my rig lined up, just negating the branches as he hooks himself up on one. There we go, just taking our time, because there is a little bit of a flat spot there. And then just lowering that rig into position. So just trying to read a peg there. That was just a little line bite again. So as I spoke about, we are fishing off the bank. Ideally we fish up against it where they can't get behind it and it'd be much shallower water, but this peg doesn't offer that. So with our feeding, instead of like pinging it 6 to 10 pellets fairly regularly, I'm going to get too many line. That's a line bite again. So I'm only lifting up like a float depth out the water. So if it was a proper bite, I could connect with it, but it weren't. So I could just drop it back into place and it's staying on that slope. But yeah, feeding when you're fishing off the bank and you want to keep on the bottom, we're fishing about 3.5 4 foot of water. Instead of pinging continuously, I'm just going to ping like a full pouch full to try and get them onto the bottom, as opposed to pinging and they're looking up all the time. So just pouch full of pellets. Ideally, if I could, I'd blow my rig over the top of it, but because it's awkward when we're fishing under the trees, I'm just going to ignore those first few seconds of indications on my float where they could potentially be coming up in the water, which should be a line bite. So ignore those few seconds and then we know we're fishing properly on the bottom. Fishing a nice light rig over there, a 0.2, just with some number 10 strung out and a nice heavy 8mm pellet to act as a bit of a plummet, because where it does slope away, there's a mugger swimming through there, well, half-hearted mugger. Where it does slope away, if I'm not on the bottom, my float's going to sink because of the weight of the pellet. So that's a nice little tip, if you like, when you're fishing on a bit of a slope. If you've got a big heavy pellet on and your float's shotted properly, if your float's sitting really low or even sinks, you know you're not on the bottom, whereas if it's sitting nicely, you know you're still on the bottom. It's a bit of a peace of mind to try and minimise the foul lookers as well. And the sun is actually shining, so we're going to have to slip the old shades back on. So, shipping back fish number 3, and we've actually hooked him in the mouth, which is a bonus. So just as I say, just changing that feeding pattern. It's a bit of a silly one that's just on the top of the water. Yeah, just changing that feed. In the mouth and he falls off. Nature of the beast sometimes. So pouch full of pellets again. It was a good sign that he was in the mouth. Over the top. I'm just going to do that twice. But yeah, he was nicely cleanly hooked, so I'm not sure why he fell off, but it's what it is. We'll repeat at that. Out we go. Sticking her under the bush. Lifting that like last 6 inches out just so I can put it in nice where it matters, and then gently down. And just being patient. If we don't get an indication in a couple of minutes, I'll just put a big pouch full of pellets in again. Because I do like to eat some bait here. It's not like other carp venues where you have to spend all match mugging and then they might feed down the edge later on. You can actually feed a quantity of pellets, which is nice, because I love feeding lots of bait. Carp on, so he's exited the peg. He's just kited off to the left. Oh, it's trying to bottom out my orange. So if he does come under control, just a case of prepping ready for that next one. So pouch full of pellets, and I say we'll just do that twice. So he's out the swim, he's doing his own thing. few pellets over the top, and then we'll ship him back. So I do normally like to fish green slick here, but I think when you're fishing on these little islands, they'll end up going around the back of them because they have got a load of fight in them. As I say, you nearly bottomed us out on that orange, which is ridiculous. And it does sound brutal, but it's you've seen how much it comes out on a carp. And just because he ain't fighting under my feet, we'll just break him down, just so we're nice and low to the water so it's comfortable. Just because we've got that high bank behind. We have tried to pick the most awkward peg for the cameraman as possible, keep him happy. So we've got him under control. Pouch full of pellets again. Keep him nice and low. And then lift up and he should pop up. Or he'll just fall off when he's in the mouth. Right then, we've been fishing for an hour now. It has been a tricky start. We've managed to land 2 carps, but we have pulled out of 2 at the net that have been in the mouth as well, which is hard with fishing big hooks, a nice size 12, an 8mm on a band, balanced tackle. I'm a bit hesitant to drop my elastic down to the green that I normally fish, just because it'll take us around the back of the island, but if I do have another couple of fall off, I'll just bite the bullet and change to green, but he's coming out more than enough. And it's what I fish in the edge all the time, so it can't be making that much of a difference, but we'll just persevere with it. So 2 carp for £15, not a frantic start by any means. I think Paul next door has got 1, and I'm not sure what the good pegs have got up the lake, because there's a bit of a tree in the way and I can't keep an eye on them. So we're just going to persevere on this this pinging line. So there's the odd one coming in, but they're not going down and feeding on the bottom, but I'm not getting loads of line bites like the shallow. I'll just get the odd one that will exit the peg. It might be a case of just biting the bullet and fishing a tiny little lash and pushing it all nasty under the bushes, just so we can get in a bit shallower water. But so I'm going to persevere with this for a little bit longer before we do any drastic changes. So yeah, happy days. It is, yeah. Just pricked one again then. I'm going to try and bite the bullet and just see what its plums up like, all nasty underneath the under the cover, just see if we can get into a bit shallower water, because they ain't happy in that depth there. Yeah, it's pretty much the same depth that I am fishing in, and then there is a nasty one here as well. Which is shallower, but I think I'm mainly going to be fishing for squirrels with that one. So I'm going to leave that rig as it is, and I'm going to jump off my box, grab one out of the bag and plumb it up with a nice short lash in that disgusting little hole over there. And you can all laugh at me when I fish for a squirrel or chuck, but it isn't good enough in that deeper water at the minute. So I've jumped off my box, went and got another rig, just for fishing in that little overgrown rat hole. So it's not a case of being lazy and thinking, oh, I should have done that, I should have done that. Sometimes you just have to be proactive and take that couple of minutes out. As I say, it's not really busy fishing, not fishing for loads and loads of bites. So if I go right in that overgrown, I can take another 6 inches off, which will be the right sort of depth to fish in really. In about 18 inches of water looking at that. It's not very flat or level to be fair, but yeah, that's the sort of depth of water I need to be fishing in. So that is 6, 12, yeah, about 18 inches. Just pull my shot down, my 3 number 10s. Gonna shorten that lash down. I like to fish with a longer lash normally, but I ain't gonna be able to strike or anything, so 6 inch lash. Trim him down. And we're just going to hook him on the bottom of the top kit. Grab our little Mechanics punch repair crayon, and then that rig will be ready to fish. So we'll put an 8mm on him ready. I'm going to go back on my line where there are some fish, just in that bit deeper water, and then I can start pinging that new disgusting rat hole and see if we can actually line some fish up. Paul's just netting another one next to us. I think that's his second. So we're going to fire it into that rat hole. A couple of pouches. And then where we were fishing, a good pouch. And yes, that has took 5 minutes to sort, but 5 minutes and 5 hours when you're fishing for big carp isn't anything at the end of the day. It's not a case of panicking when it's not going right, even when you end up in the tree like I am now. Oh no, it's all going Pete's tongue. There we go. He was actually caught on the float and not the rig itself. So, but as I say, it's easy to get flustered at this point, and it's just take a breath, grab another pellet. Don't fly your pole back out because you end up getting it tangled and you end up in a worse state than where you were to start. So just take a breath, not to worry. A few pellets again across, and then our new hole, I can ping them nicely into the bush and they'll just like rain down. That's nice. We just don't want this wind to get up because the squirrels will be getting lots of action. So just taking my time, lifting the rig into position. So I've got like a branch in front of me and then there's a branch behind. So just that last 6 inches, waiting for it to straighten up and then just down at that. There we go, and we're fishing. Big angry carp on the end. That orange stretched out, doing its job. So when he's under control, just bringing him back. I say just for comfort, I'm just going to keep him nice and low and break him down halfway. And then we're coming back onto our top kit, still nice and low. If it does go off on a mad, then I can put some sections on. And I'm not going to feed this time just because the last couple have fell off, even though I know it's nothing to do with me pinging, because that's what I do every time I fish. But just concentrate on landing the fish. A little zipper in the mouth. Oh, a little dark one. Oh, it's a bit larger than I thought, to be fair. Oh, it's dark mirror carp. in the mouth, in the net, we're happy. And this is where he soaks me, because he's mental. Yeah. So onto the pole roller behind, and the important thing is with this small landing net, I say, if I trap my legs together when his head's up, I can still get to him nicely. Hook's just pinged out. Net to net. And they have a habit here at Lychgate of always making you look like an absolute buffoon, and their heads, they like put the head the wrong way in the landing net, so you can never net to net them. So it just makes me look like I've never done this before in my life. So there we go, he's in the net. Let's have a little dry off. Let's have a little breathe. And now we can ping our peg again. Big patch of pellets, twice. Keep him on the bottom. That was a nice clean bite as well that time. And then I'm going to pouch that new rat hole again. Grabbing our rig, nice dry hand, long 8mm in the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're away to snarl the next one. We've been catching some great big fish on the pole today. I don't think anything gets a heart racing like a great big one pulling that elastic out. So I'd love to know, what is the biggest carp you've caught on the pole? Please comment below. Oh yes, there's one there. Yeah, it's got his tail up the water. So I've been pinging that new line in that little pokey hole for about like 10 or 15 minutes now, and they do normally show themselves when they're in that shallow water. Just sort that shut out, and it's the first, been looking out for a tail, it's the first tail I've seen, so I'm going to give that a little look-see, because that line off the island certainly isn't the one. I say they showed one off the bottom, but not enough to catch them shallow, so I've just got to concentrate on poking it right in that tiny little hole. Oh, and we got a visitor. Hello, killer. I ain't got any sausages for you. He's good as gold. It's because I didn't give him a sausage this morning, he's wanting one now. So, back to the fishing. There's one just to the right of where I'm fishing now, tailing up, so I ain't going to ping that just yet. Just try and get the bug off me. Waiting for a nice clean indication. Oh, that was a bite then. So just shift him back in, and he's exited the peg, so I'm going to poke him right up into that shallow. Grab our pouch of pellets again. Pouch them in. That's it, and the nice thing there, if I like overfeed them, the water vole's happy, but I might like pinging past my bait, because obviously it's just going on the island, so my pellet's going to be touching that bank in, and they can't get behind us where they can in that deeper water where they keep doing us over. So there was 2 or 3 there. There we go, nice bite. Pull him out the rat hole. Top kit bent over double with an angry one on. That's a nice quick bite. So that nice balance gear. And when I can, just gonna ship him back onto a top kit. There we go. In control. Job's a good one. Plane going overhead. And just because I'm a bit paranoid because I've lost a couple when I've been pinging with one on, which is, I say, nothing that I've been doing, but I'm just going to concentrate on netting the fish as opposed to pinging me pellets. And when he's in our lap, we'll have a ping ready for the next one at that. So just trap the landing net against my legs, keep him nice and low. Lift, lift, lift. And then if he goes off again, just keep him nice and low again, nice and steady, no rush. Nice big powerful fish. We're all fighting fit in this lake. This one really is having none of it. There we go, head up into a nice small landing nets just so he's nice and safe in there. He can do his own thing onto the spreader block, onto a roller behind, under our armpit. He's got a great big head on him. Nice fish. And he's nice and secure. Hold him a hook, net to net him. He's probably our best fish of the day. And then like they all do here, they go the wrong way in the landing net. So it's a case of just starting again with it. They're certainly not making it easy for us today. So nice dry hand on our towel. Longish 8mm. Yeah, so that is, I was just checking, a power margin as opposed to a power slim. So the same float, same 0.2, 3 number 10s, 020 to 020 and a 12, but just a shorter stem when we're fishing in like 18 inches of water. And I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to ping that other line. I don't want to split my fish, so I'm going to focus on this one where I can poke into and leave that other line alone because it wasn't right. So just pinging it right in that tiny little gap that I've got there. Plenty of tip showing. The water vole's had his fill, he's Epsom pellets, gone back into his home. There's loads of fish there now, a couple of indications. They have both exited, but there's one tailing up. I'm just going to ping that again. I want to keep a couple of fish in my peg, get them competing. Another bite then. Just push that up the bank again. I've literally got about, I don't know, 6 inches to play with there. Little dink. So we've got something to work with now. We managed to get our second one on our new little hole in like 18 inches of water. Just going to break him down at that. The old foot method. Don't see Jamie Hughes doing that. Not as nimble as the little monkey. There we go, under control. Nice dark one again. Get rid of the little spiders on my face. Lift, lift, lift. And there we go. That's how we want them. Smallest fish of the day, probably £6. Just persevering what we're doing. As I say, we've got the weed cutter out, the bottom's all over the place. We have just had one disgorge ourselves nicely on a big bramble, so I've got the cupping kit back out and just push that bramble up on top of the willow branches there, so the next one it won't have any trouble with us like swimming. It was going probably a good 3 foot underwater, so it can't swim through that anymore. It's a frustrating day, as I say. It's all over the place. There's fish clearly in your peg, but transferring those onto clean bites is difficult. But I'll just carry on just pinging some pellets over the top. Worth mentioning as well, we're not kinder potting any in because it's a fairly big lake, and to draw them into your peg, if you're just sneaking some in, we aren't going to attract any fish in our peg. We just need to ring the dinner bell, just keep pinging some pellets in, and they should eventually come in numbers, and we catch enough to put a reasonable weight together. But there's no need to panic. I say 5 hours is a long time. The big fish are like £7 average normally. Just being patient. I'm changing my mind. I'm going to keep pinging a few on that horrible deep lime to the left hand side, just in case for now, because I say this one ain't solid just yet. I think we've got 5 fish now, 2 off that first line where it's like 3.5 foot deep, and then this little overgrown one. I've had a couple of bites, a couple of fish, and lost a couple there as well. So don't make for easy fishing today. But I say, just really important, just keep calm, and they will eventually feed in your peg. There we go. If I actually looked at my float, it was under there. So he's exited out. So just, like I say, they're coming more than once. So 2 quickish bites. The first fish definitely exited, and then his mate took it straight after. Might have been a line bite. In that depth of water though, I shouldn't be getting line bites. It should be nice clean bites. But it don't help that we've only got such a small area to fish onto. Little dink. Carp on. Trying to go around the island already. Nice fish again, nice fish. So when I can, I'm just going to break it down at top, kitten free, just so we're comfortable. Use the proven foot method to support my pole, just when it's going at a weird angle. Keeping him nice and low. Keeping him nice and low. Onto the roller. Ears in the mouth, it's just wrapped round. Head up. There we go, tail first as opposed to head first. Coming straight down onto him, job's a good one. Come back, Mr. Fishy. Big angry one again. Onto the roller. Oh, he's not going to let me go onto the roller. Might go on me edge roller over here instead. Nice, 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 nice. Supporting him with my foot, that's all I'm doing there, just because the bank's awkward. I'm not a complete moron most of the time, I promise. Shipping that onto our roller behind. Keeping him nice and low. Grabbing our catapult, I'm feeling brave now. A few pellets. Lift, 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 lift. Oh, should have had him. Head first. There we go. Little dink, fish on. Tug of war begins. It's free from them snags. Onto the pole roller. He might let us ship him straight back. Yes, he's gonna. Nice, nice. Keep him nice and low. Was going to try and feed, but is he going to go mental? Yeah, he's happy enough there for now. Ready for the next one. It might seem like we're feeding loads of bait, but we've fed like a pint and a half in. How long we've been fishing? 2.5 hours, so not much bait at all really. It's considering like one of those carp could eat that in a matter of minutes. Never know when to give up here. Pull your arm off, they really do. Give him one strip. There we go. Oh, short one, but a little fat one he is. We have been fishing now for, what's that, nearly 3 hours. So we thought we'd have another check-in, so just ping a few pellets again in that little hidey hole. So we've got 11 carp for £89. They've just come in. Like, you won't get one for 10 minutes, and you catch like two in 2 chucks sort of thing. So it's just patient fishing. Just keep reining some pellets in. Where it is that little bit shallow, I'm not feeding as many. So like on that deeper line earlier on, I was putting like 2 big full pouch fulls to try and get them down, but it's the right depth that we're fishing in over there, 18 inches, so they can't really come up on it. So just pinging some either into the bush so they like rain down, a little bit more effect, or I can pouch them low and like put them straight into the water, so it gives me a couple of options there. Just swapping between what have we got? A normal oiled up pellet, and then there's just the odd red one chucked in there. So I've had a couple on the red, couple on the normal ones, are just like a little bit longer pellet. Yeah, so at the minute it's just nice, patient. Ping some pellets. If I haven't got one come in my peg, ping some pellets again, and just not just getting excited with them though, just trying to read what's happening in your peg. If there's one probably a metre to my left now, and when I do up one, just shit back and try and, there we go, little dink. Ugh, how did I miss that? So we'll just push him back in, a few pellets again, right up against that banking. Fire them nice and low. Just try and get them to come straight back into the feed. Just being nice and patient. As I say, we've got really robust tackle on because there's the jungle that we're fishing in. It might not look very pretty, but it's the sort of peg where you can't get away with like elastic and nice fairy shipping back and stuff like that. You just have to pull them away from the snags. Nice big strong hook on, and hopefully they follow you. Right, so time to feed our edge. Got our old pick and mix. Just gonna get a nice big full scoop of all that goodness. Just while when we had to go out and cut my rig from the far banking, just where it snagged on the bottom. So just dumping him in. There we go. Put another one in for good measure. And we've just got a mixture of hemp, corn, micros and dead maggots in there, just when the water's up to things. I think if you're fishing like, there we go, nice release. If you're fishing ground bait for instance, and you've just got your double worm over the top, or your pile of maggots, the water's up to it, they're not going to eat that danger bait. They'll let a little stupid one have it, but they're definitely wise up to it. That one has taken, I haven't timed it, probably half an hour to catch, so it's just about being patient, not panicking, and they will come back in. The edge looks lovely, but it's a little bit bright at the minute, and flat calm could do with a bit of a ripple staying on the water, just so that they're going to come in. I don't want to, but if we really need to, I have got that little feeder rod. I can always plop across the mud, but hopefully there's going to be a few fish on this pinging line again. They do seem to come in little waves, but say it don't help when you hook the root on the bottom and you have to get the cutter back out just to cut your float out of the peg and stuff, so probably just a little bit unsettled. So he's fine with what he's doing. Pellets and pellets. Looking down to my left to see if there's anything in the edge, which there isn't, unfortunately. Just taking our time with them. There we go. So 4 hours in now, we've got 16 or 17 carp, which is £132 on the clicker. My edge, I've been potting for, I don't know, 45 minutes now, and I've just potted it again, and one's come straight in, swirled, and then spooks back out. So it's nice that there's some signs of fish there, but I'm in no rush to go down there. I think I will catch down there, but I want them to be settled when I go down there. So I'm going to carry on with this line across here, just pinging pellets. Still little windows for fish, get no bites, and then have 2 or 3 quickly. And then, oh, little line bite then. And then hopefully that last charge we can have clattering some down the edge when they want to feed properly, because it has been just a case of picking them off as and when. But this is where you can throw the match away. You think, oh look, there's loads of fish down the edge. You end up fishing for tails and not getting any bites when there's still, there we go, that one's pulled the elastic out with that short lash. When there's still a bite to be had across there, I say it's just being regimented and not getting too excited when you see that there's tails in your peg. I want to see them feeding confidently, because it's the right depth of water that they will show themselves when they're there. Ship him straight back. And just as I'm playing him, I can just glance and see if there's one in my peg. So pick the catapult up, pouch your pellets in. And I've just changed on that pinging line as well to like putting a full pouch in, because it is like carp o'clock, they should be eating now. So instead of me like reining it on the bushes a little bit, I'm just going to poke it a little bit lower and just pouch it in. See if we can catch a few more there just before we drop in the edge. See the geese up the other end of the lake? They can stay away. No rush. Head first, there we go, happy days. Another 6 pound in the net. Been slightly smaller stamp than they normally are. I don't know if they're just smaller stamp that sit round the island. Net to net him, happy days. Nice dry hand. Pellet again. Rig's nice, we ain't got any slime on the line. Pull together. Nice pouch full of pellets. That was fed short, that was awful. That'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we go again. Time for a look down the reg. So what we're doing is we've set up my pot good to go. Just going to put another trimming shot on that one because it was sitting up like a beacon. I'm getting regular indications of fish coming in the peg now. So there is still the odd one on my pinging line. There we go, nip that on. I normally use shot pliers and being lazy. There is still one on the pinging line and we are going to still keep pinging it, but the only reason those carp are down there in the edge is to eat bait. It's not their home like it is over there. They're there to eat, so we should be able to catch them a little bit quicker. So fishing nice robust tackle again. That is a 0.2 power margin in, again about 18 inches of water. One's vortex right next to the end of my pole there. So I was just going to have a little drinky poo, but there is one in my peg. Did he exit out? I don't think he did. I'm just going to slip those glasses on. There's one there. Tail up. This is the exciting bit. Just need it to go under now. Little indication. Fish on. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. So we've set ourselves up for a grand finale finish. Just keeping him nice and low. And we're just going to take them shades off because it is a little bit dark still. Keep him nice and low. I did just slip a cheeky extra keep net in. Let's see if we can fill this last one with some edge fish. There we go. About £7 again, nicely hooked. 10 maggots. A nice strong. That's actually a prototype hook, that one. Nice edge one. Into the net. And then we're just going to repeat that. So big pot again. Just re-entice them back in of the old pick and mix. In the edge. Come back, scoop him back up ready for the next time. Just speeds everything up. Nice pot of pick and mix there. And then one straight over it again. So I'm just going to put a few more maggots on. Just going for 10 deads. And say something that's worth mentioning as well. Just I don't just have to fish maggots over there. I could fish double corn, single corn as well if they're wafting it about too much. But as I say, really important not to get carried away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we've caught one down the edge and neglecting that far line because it could die and you could only catch a couple in the edge and then you've got nowhere else to go. So just going to put that rig in again and then gently down. Don't want to drag it across, so just straight down and just letting that last 6 inches straighten up and then down we go. And it's worth mentioning the size of float we're fishing. I fished a 0.2 on both these lines today. Again, I think for me, big carp have become wise to like heavy floats. They come in, they like wash the body over it, and if they feel a load of resistance from like a big heavy bulk, they bolt out a lot more. Whereas if you've got a lighter float, say that's took 3 number 10s and a trimming shot. I think I put 2 trimmers on that one, but yeah, we've got it shotted down. It can come in, it feels much more natural, like a reed or something, so the feeling for it, and your float's like floating about all over the place. And for me, for my edge fishing, or my shallow water carp fishing, that's been an absolute must of late. So one's swirled, you can see I'm getting excited by the pace when we're talking, one's just swirled past my float then. But there isn't anything more exciting in the matches, so then picking some off on whatever line and then dropping down the edge for some big ones, see them tailing up, so try and get that on the camera. So we've caught one from down the edge and they're coming in, but they're not coming in quick enough. There's more fish on me across line, so I say it looks really exciting for the cameras and not just fishing one line all day, but it really is a case of just being routine. So I'm going to hook those 10 maggots back up, so when we do go back down there, it's good to go. And we're going to grab our across rig. Loads of fish across there now because I say it's eating time at the zoo. That'll be on then. Nice pole puller under. So we caught one down the edge and they're coming in, but they're really not settling at all. It's lovely and flat down there. It's like 18 inches deep, so it's like perfect. But as I keep saying, I just think because we've had so much rain and the water's cold and it's still and the sun's out, they're just a bit cagey. So I have potted it again and I haven't seen one come in at all, so I've just gone back across. And we managed to catch one like pretty much straight away, which is good. There we go. and then it's, yeah, they're coming in and they're not happy at all. Little dink under the mangrove, keeping him nice and low, free from the mangrove. Another one of them little black ones. Little dink again, pole nice and low. Out of the snag, into safety. Another little one. Pole's making a run for it. There we go. Yeah, not turning up down the edge.
I'm too trained on that. I'm used to that now.
Okay, so we are into the last 15 minutes of the match, and I really did think that edge would be the one. Lovely depth, a nice little cut out, but there's too many fish on me across line. We've had one down the edge, but they're not coming in quick enough or confidently enough to put a weight together down there, so we just carried on pinging that across line. I have given it a couple of looks in the edge. We've nicked one, but this pinging line's been too good to come off it. Angry carp on the end again. And down, nice and safe. So we've got 22 carp if I've accounted for them correctly. Just caught them in bursts. So I started on that bit deeper line that weren't the one, and then we had to get off my box, get a new rig, fish in the jungle, and it's been loads better. And I say that this last hour when they've wanted to feed, I've just started upping my feed. It might seem like I've had loads of bait all day. I've only fed 3 pints of pellets, and we've been fishing one line. Well behaved. So that's all out. We have we have ended up with 23 carp for, if my clicking is correct, £187. A little bit of rundown. We started off in that line off the island. It's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 foot off the island against the overgrow. It was about 4 foot deep, 3.5 foot deep. Caught a couple, but they were coming up, but not enough to catch them shallow. So I bit the bullet, jumped off my box, grabbed another rig, plumbed up in the shallow water where we just poked it into the hole, and that's been good. It's just been being patient fishing. You'd catch two, maybe 3 in 5-10 minutes, and then you'd be waiting there a good 10 minutes from just to come back in. Edge looks absolutely mega, but as I keep saying, with the weather, I just don't think it's been the one. They're coming in, but they're not settling there properly. So it's been good that I haven't been drawn into it. Caught one there, like pretty much instantly when one on it, but then I've given it a couple more looks and it just hasn't been the one. So just being nice and routine and then catching still in little spells across. So brilliant. We'll see how we've got on weighing wise. Summary time. We've ended up weighing 23 carp in at £180, which was enough to win the match. There was Robin down on peg 13, he's had £114 for second in the match, and then Shep on peg 7 has been third with £97. So a bit of a margin there. Let's have a bit of a summary of what I would have done different. I think the key really, as I say, was not being caught up with tails in my edge because they weren't really very settled, and I originally planned to fish in that like 3.5 foot of water line, and it just clearly weren't right. Jumped off the box, got another rig, plumbed up in the jungle in like 18 inches where the birds are now eating, the little ducks are eating my pellets that I've overpinged, and it was just good for runs of carp. Nice robust tackle, doesn't overly look pretty, but it's a case of just dragging them away from the snags nice and low, and that was definitely the method of the day. After the match, as they always do, they've been tailing up and coming in the edge properly, but I just say, I think with the water being cold and it being so bright with no ripple on, they just haven't been settled in that edge, which is a shame, but the winning method was pinging pellets across. So next time you're out on the bank, really important to make sure you're fishing in the right depth of water. Hopefully that's demonstrated today. Wrong depth, not enough fish. Right depth, lots of fish. So put that into practice and hopefully that'll put more fish on the bank. Thank you very much for watching.